The other thing that's completely hypocritical here is they said it when they hit AGI and they're going to be like a sentient artificial intelligence going on here, Friedberg, that they would wrap up shop and they're going to no longer be a nonprofit, et cetera. But they haven't, but they're claiming they haven't hit that, but they closed the software. So it should be open source if they haven't hit AGI, and you don't think they've hit general intelligence, right, Friedberg? Or anything close to it? Maybe you could educate the audience on what that is and that claim that they have to sort of shut off the for-profit. Yeah, they haven't.
But I think we keep repeating this concept of the models should be open source versus closed source. Making AI for the benefit of humanity can be interpreted in a lot of ways. There may have been some anecdotal conversation at some point with Elon or others about we're going to make the models open source. But there was a reason that change was made along the way, which was to attract dollars. And those dollars need to have some return of capital available to them because they're private investor dollars. And so I don't think that was necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's in the mission, that the open AI software models will be open source. Making AI for the benefit of humanity could probably be interpreted in a lot of different ways, and we'll see. But no, I don't think that anyone has achieved this holy grail of general intelligence.
Yeah.
I think one of the more interesting and kind of wacky things about OpenAI is that their mission is explicitly to create AGI, which most people would associate with some sort of sci-fi dystopian outcome. And I think this has like raised the fear factor around AI because they're explicitly trying to create the sentience that's going to replace humanity. Now, I think they define AGI in a different way. They say it's something that can replace 80% of the jobs, but I think we all kind of know what it really is. So I just wonder. I don't know.
I think that's like, that assumes a steady state in the world. So if you end up with a system and the system has all the capabilities of a bunch of really highly qualified knowledge workers, and I can sit in front of a computer terminal and I can say, let's design a mission to Mars. A mission to Mars could be a 20-year engineering project with hundreds of people involved to design the buildings, to design the flight path, to figure out the fuel needs, to figure out how you would then be able to terraform Mars. And what if one person could interact with a computer and design a plan to go and inhabit Mars? All of the technical detail docs could be produced. All of the engineering specifications could be generated. All of the operating plans, all of the dates, the amount of labor needed, the amount of production needed, the amount of capital needed. What would otherwise take NASA or some, international or well-funded private company many, many decades to do, a piece of software could do in a very short order. I think that's like a really, for me, poignant example of the potential of having these tools broadly available, that the potential of humanity starts to become much broader. We could say, I want to develop a city underneath the ocean because I want to explore more of the earth. I think humans need to go solve cancer, figure out the biologic drugs and the combination of biologic drugs that would be needed to solve cancer based on this patient's genotype. The extensibility of highly knowledgeable, or what other people might call general intelligence type tooling, is extraordinary. That one individual starts to have an entire cohort of knowledge workers available at their disposal to do things that we can't even imagine today. So I don't think that it is nefarious. It's nefarious because we assume a steady state of the world today, that nothing changes, therefore a piece of software replaces all of us. But the potential of humanity starts to stretch into a new era that we're not really comfortable with because we don't really know it or understand it yet.
I'm not saying it's nefarious to want to develop AI, because I agree with you about all the extraordinary potential of it. I'm saying there's something a little bit cultish and weird about explicitly devoting yourself to AGI, which I think in common parlance means Skynet.
Yeah, it means something
when you talk about creating,
smarter than humans.
That's maybe that parlance is what needs to be addressed, which is AGI effectively enables equivalence to a human knowledge worker, and that can kind of unleash a new kind of set of opportunities.
So you think that's what it is?
My definition for AGI is smarter than the smartest human being who ever lived.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody this week who's in a position who said the definition of AGI is very fuzzy. that there isn't a clear definition, and therefore it allows every side to kind of anchor on their interpretation of what that term means, and therefore kind of justifies their position. So, I don't really feel great about like just saying, are we at AGI? What is it? We don't have a clear sense of what it means. I do think if you look at some of the work that was done by Anthropic and published in the Claude 3 model this week, did any of you guys see the demos that were done of the output of that model? There was a guy who wrote a thesis in quantum physics on a very esoteric, complicated problem set. And he asked Claude 3 to solve this problem set, and it came up with his thesis. It was really like extraordinary. And this is something he's like, no one in the world knows this stuff. And he's like, I can't believe this model like came up with my thesis. And that's the sort of thing that very few people on Earth even read or understand. And the Claude 3 model was able to kind of recreate the basis, the buildup, and then the output of his thesis was
It'd be
really
like somebody writing a screenplay and then giving it the first two acts and say, guess the third act. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the third act. Here's what happens. Like, it's pretty impressive,
these
the reasoning
are like
ability.
complicated.
Let me ask you, like deep down, when these guys say they're going to create AGI, what do you think they really mean in their heart of hearts?
Oh, they mean the Terminator. Yeah, they mean the sentient God.
You guys are propagating some bad shit. You guys shouldn't be
No,
saying
I think that's what they think.
Remember
that's
what Larry Page said?
Elon has said it.
Remember what Larry Page said to Elon? Don't be speciest.
Yeah.
I think there's a meaningful number of people in the tech community who deliberately want to give rise to the superintelligence.
There's another point of view of
100%.
superintelligence, where superintelligence means that the software is now more intelligent than all humans. And as a result, the software may have its own motivations to figure out how to supersede humans on Earth. Now, the Larry Page statement, which I don't know firsthand, I read the same article you did, is one that a group of people might say, evolution is evolution. And, there are people that
would say that.
That's right. And I know Elon's taken this point of view that, like, we need to maintain human supremacy. But
my favorite test is, there's the Turing test, which like you can't tell if it's a human or if it's a robot. But Mustafa came up with the modern Turing test, which is an AI model is given $100,000 and has to obtain 1 million. Go. It's kind of interesting. And the other interesting one was Gary Marcus. He said the IKEA test, the flat pack furniture test. An AI views the parts and instructions of an IKEA flat pack product, then controls a robot to assemble the furniture correctly.